Sekarang kita akan menuju ke sesi tanya jawab. Jadi kalau Bapak Ibu punya pertanyaan seputar penjelasan tentang startup visa, kemudian kalau masih bingung ada hal yang ingin ditanyakan, silakan ketik di kolom chat atau mungkin Anda bisa raise hand langsung. Nanti tim dari APS Global Partners akan membantu menjawab pertanyaan Anda. Gitu. Silakan Bapak Ibu.
I have a question for Anastasia, actually.
Yeah, go ahead, Pak.
Sure.
Yeah, my name is Mike. I'm living in LA, and there are a few things I'd like to know from you, actually. I'm still a bit confusing in regards to the funds. What I could hear earlier, you were saying that the fund is like about 120,000 to 150,000 as far as the settlement funds. But at the same time, when I look at the charge for a family of one, it's starting like 13,000 plus. So that's one question that I like to raise as far as in relation to the startup visa program. And number two is how long does it take from the initial retainer agreement as far as the excuse me, as far as the documents until the permanent resident is being issued? So how long does it take to have that up as far as the process goes? And also another thing I'd like to know is you were mentioning about up to 5 applicants. So let's say if there are 2 different families, like 2 different family members, and how does the fund going to be inflict the requirement? And also which province in Canada is demanded the most for the startup visa program? And that's what basically I'd like to know first. And thank you, Don, for the answer.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So regarding the funds, there are 2 types of settlement funds that we are looking for. So there are settlement funds from Canadian government, and actually as soon as we'll get into it, Marina, our immigration consultant, will be able to elaborate on that more than me. So there are Canadian government settlement funds that the Canadian government requests to see on your account, which are much lower, and you can see them you can see it on the table that you are mentioning. And there are funds that are required from the designated organization. So basically, designated organization is looking to for the applicants who will not request an initial investment into their business, right? So they would wouldn't come to Canada and start looking for investors and start looking for funding. They will have like a certain amount of money to start on their own. So they are looking to see on your bank account between 120 to 150,000 Canadian dollars or equivalent to that. So those are 2 different types of the funds that you need to showcase. This is regarding the funds. Regarding how long does it take, also I would address this question to Marina. And just to explain about the provinces, so there is no province which is better for the startup visa. The startup visa is a federal program, meaning that it applies to all of the provinces. You can live in Ontario and doing your business in BC, or the opposite. It doesn't work like with the provincial programs. It's not like that. It's a federal program, and you can decide where you want to run the business in. And of course, depends on the business venture, on the business nature, sorry. So depends what kind of business are you having. We would be able to consult you and to advise you where is better to run it. And now I would like to ask Marina to answer regarding the processing times. Hi, Marina.
Hi, guys. Yes, in regards to funds, yes, you have to have minimum funds required for you to come to Canada and settle in the first few months. So for the family of one, it's $13,000, and depends what is your family size. It can go above that. Now, in regards to processing times, there are a few things that have changed since COVID have been here in Canada. It used to be paper application, which was taking a long time during the COVID because they were working on the skeleton stuff. Now everything is filed online. And to be honest, what I see, the times that is indicated on the official website is not exactly what is happening, because it's not first come, first out, it's last filed, first out. So it might take a while. However, they are hiring more staff to be efficient and to process files faster. Now, since again, this type of immigration, it is to create business and to create workspace in Canada. So we hope that the processing time will be better and faster in the next few months. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, it does. If I could actually ask you a follow-up questions though, and
Mike, what are the follow-up questions?
So what is your family size?
I'm sorry though, it was on mute actually. Yeah, so what the follow-up question I was asking you is the family size of one. I mean, as far as like my understanding is, especially for myself, right? Like if I do have spouse or children, that's gonna be considered a little bit more than one.
Correct.
Okay, got it. And also, in order to budget accordingly, I'd just like to know what's kind of like approximately the fee that I have to pay to APS for the whole process.
That would be questions that I have to direct to Georgina.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi, Mike. Sorry, I did not know that you're not Indonesian before. Okay.
Well,
Anyway.
wait, I'm sorry, I do speak Indonesian too, so I'm bilingual.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, nice to know. Anyway, for the cost is 160,000 US dollars. They don't do with the Canadian dollars, but they it's a 160,000 US dollars. But I think if you have the startups, then they will assess you first, and then they will let you know how much will it cost.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Oke, thank you, Mr. Mike. Ada pertanyaan lain, Bapak Ibu, yang mungkin kurang jelas ingin ditanyakan lagi? Belum ada? Oke, jadi kalau boleh saya tambahin dikit ya, tadi Bu Georgina MIEKE sudah emphasize juga, jadi startup visa ini tujuannya adalah job creation gitu ya, mengundang innovative business ideas ke Kanada, di mana bisnis idea tersebut dapat paling nggak memberikan kontribusi, memberikan solusi buat problem yang lagi existing di Kanada, dalam segala bidang actually, nggak cuma teknologi, tapi tadi Anastasia bilang in all fields sebenarnya ya. Jadi kalau Anda punya innovative business idea di bidang lain, mungkin lingkungan hidup, teknologi, semuanya itu bisa diconsider sebagai startup visa. Dan bagi Anda yang mungkin nggak punya ide, nggak punya idea, Anda juga bisa dalam tanda kutip itu dompleng ya, jadi bahasa Indonesianya dompleng itu bisnis idea yang sudah mungkin sudah di pre-screen oleh APS gitu ya, dan nanti akan di match qualification Anda, skill Anda, apakah Anda dapat memberikan kontribusi kepada perusahaan startup tersebut gitu ya. Jadi kalau Anda punya background dalam bidang manajemen, finance gitu ya, itu tentunya akan membantu karena mereka juga akan melihat kekuatan sebuah tim, kekuatan sebuah organisasi bukan hanya dilihat dari ide bisnisnya, namun mereka juga melihat bahwa oke, tim ini solid, dia punya mungkin inventornya, seorang engineer, terus kemudian ada orang finance, ada orang marketing, dan lain-lain gitu ya. Jadi itu cukup membantu. Dan kami tegaskan sekali lagi bahwa PR di Kanada itu seharusnya bukan cuma tujuannya cuma punyaan gitu ya. Banyak orang Indonesia yang ingin mendapatkan permanent resident di negara lain, dan itu sah legal gitu ya, karena pemerintah Indonesia tidak pernah melarang untuk warga negara Indonesia memiliki permanent resident di beberapa negara gitu ya. Yang tidak boleh adalah double citizenship atau dual citizenship. Nah, tapi oleh karena stay requirement-nya yang cukup tinggi, yaitu 730 hari ya, tadi dalam 5 tahun, maka Anda harus consider untuk bisa memenuhi stay requirement tersebut gitu ya. Jadi kalau memang Anda memang benar-benar berniat untuk migrate ke Kanada gitu ya, untuk bawa keluarga Anda memang pindah ke sana, ini adalah jalur yang terbaik dan tercepat untuk saat ini. Namun kalau Anda berpikir bahwa saya cuma butuh punya PR di negara lain, tapi saya nggak mau ninggali, ini bukan program yang tepat untuk Anda, karena nanti Anda pasti akan keteteran memenuhi stay requirement-nya. Saya sudah punya banyak teman yang mereka asalnya punya PR, tapi kemudian nggak bisa memenuhi stay requirement-nya, akhirnya juga harus PR-nya expire, terus kemudian harus mengajukan aplikasi untuk renewal dan lain-lain gitu. Jadi itu akan memusingkan Anda gitu ya. Jadi itu yang bisa saya tekankan sekarang. Ada pertanyaan lain mungkin, atau mungkin ada tambahan dari Bu Mieke kalau nggak ada pertanyaan?
Ya, saya ada orang yang tanya ya. Jadi dia nggak ikut webinar yang kali ini, tapi dia dengerin rekaman yang sebelumnya. So I would like to ask to Marina. So this is from someone who watched our previous webinar. So let's say if one of his family members failed in maintaining the PR, for example, how can it be reinstated? How can the PR be reinstated?
One of the family members of
for example, because all are 730 days minimum.
Yeah.
So for example, maybe they only, let's say family of 4, and then one of them only stay 1 year in Canada, so could not maintain the PR.
Okay, first of all, we do encourage you to stay in Canada at least 3 years of the latest 5. We do encourage you to comply with all the rules and get your citizenship. That would be the first advice, because that would be kind of really individual consultation where we have to assess situation and why this particular family member didn't maintain the status. There are possible ways to sponsor that person again. There are different ways that we can offer to go through the certain borders. We can apply for the appeal, but again, we would have to know situation exactly to assess it.
Yeah, so the next question is there any maximum years, for example, for the PR to be able to reinstate or revoke?
Again, it's not something that can be just answered as simple as, like a general question. We would have to know situation, because sometimes it can be medical reasons. There are possible ways to find like humanitarian compassion grounds, but it is not something that can be answered just in general.
Okay, thank you. Saya tambahkan juga ya Bapak Ibu ya.
But again, our advice to comply with all the rules, get you a citizenship, and then have a Canadian passport, and to be free to choose which country you want to live.
Yes, okay, thank you. Ada lagi Bapak Ibu?
I have another question though, if I could, for Marina. And the question is, let's say if I don't want to have, or just only to gain the Canadian permanent resident for the long-term basis, would that be okay? Or it has to be the route to Canadian citizenship? Thank you.
You can stay as a permanent resident. That's not an issue. However, you will have to comply with your residency status all the time. Canadian citizenship grants you freedom to choose where and how long you want to live. Canada doesn't allow you to have multiple citizenships. They never ask you to renounce any citizenship that you have.
Okay, thank you then.
Ada lagi Bapak Ibu? Mungkin bisa saya tambahkan sedikit gini ya. Jadi siapa sih sebetulnya yang cocok sama program ini? Jadi karena Kanada tuh banyak banget permanent residentnya ya, macamnya ya. Misalnya skilled workers juga ada beberapa macam. Jadi terus juga ada juga yang entrepreneur visa ya, yang untuk ada bisnis konvensional ya. Jadi ini adalah orang yang tidak memenuhi syarat untuk skilled workers. Ada juga self-employed, tapi self-employed itu lebih ke artis atau artis yang kaliber internasional atau atlet ya, atlet itu juga bisa untuk jalur untuk Canadian PR ya. Itu adalah beberapa. Lainnya lagi yang paling gampang kalau Anda dapat sponsor untuk bekerja, jadi employer Anda yang mensponsori, itu paling gampang. Nah, kalau misalnya semua itu Anda enggak, tapi Anda pengen ke Kanada, nah ya pakai jalurnya setara visa ini, udah gitu aja. Kalau semua ini nggak bisa, ini nggak memenuhi, tapi gue pengen ke Kanada gitu, ya udah, tuh udah pakai jalurnya setara visa ini, itu paling gampang. Ya kurang lebih seperti itu. Oh, ada pertanyaan? Ya silakan Pak Hendy dibacakan.
Ya, oke. From Ms. Risa, is there any guarantee that the business on the incubator stage will success to pass the program?
Yeah, I'll take that. Hello, everyone. My name is GLEB. I'm a project manager at APS, and the business side is my side. And it's a very good question. And to answer that simply would be to say that obviously there are no guarantees on anything. However, we have yet to submit a business idea or a business that did not receive an LOS from an incubator. And on our side, on our business team side, the people that we employ, people that work to develop and help with the creation of your startup, we have yet to see a rejection from an incubator as far as the LOS.
If I also may add, we have an excellent refund policy in our retainer agreement. So our retainer agreement says if we will not provide a letter of support from a designated organization, you will get a full refund. Meaning if you are going to use our services, the letter of support to you is guaranteed.
Oke, jadi APS sangat berhati-hati dalam menseleksi Anda dan kualifikasi Anda. Mereka juga punya reputasi yang harus mereka pertahankan. Jadi memang sebelum mereka mengambil case Anda, mereka akan make sure bahwa bisnis idea atau mungkin kalau Anda adalah investor gitu ya, sehingga Anda qualified dan bisa mendapatkan letter of support. Kalau enggak, mereka akan garanti untuk refund application fee-nya. Oke, ada pertanyaan lain mungkin?
Nggak ada.
Oke, there's a question. Oh, okay. There is question from Mr. Mike again. Quick question: incubator visa to Dombleng, I'm an established company. So for the I think for the letter of support for business incubator, is that will you gonna match it to the existing or actually pre-screen company that you have on board with APS? Is that way, Mike, for the incubator?
Can you elaborate a little bit? Match the LOS to the existing company. I'm not sure when I understand.
Okay, Mr. Mike, can you ask directly, maybe?
Yes. What I was trying to find out is that kind of like investing with a well-known company, such as like already established, or it's kind of creating a new
hold on. Before you investing with a well-known company, what do you mean by that?
Let's say I don't have a very good example to elaborate. Let's say like if there's a Google and then has a stock and then just pretty much like buy the stock and join the initiative interactive AI or something kind of similar to it. Is that going to be like consider one of the program falls under the incubator visa?
So I think I understand what you're asking. So so Google, as great as it is, would not be considered, so a search engine would not be considered an innovative idea for an incubator or an angel investor, or as far as the SUV program, startup visa program goes. You can bring in a lot of money. You can buy 1,000 restaurants, 100 gas stations, and so on. But as far as the startup visa program, that doesn't make a difference. They're not interested in that. What they're interested in is an innovative idea, something that does not exist in Canada, a product or a service. It could be IT, agricultural, technical, mechanical, whatever. But as long as it doesn't exist in Canada and is interesting to for Canadian consumers. So bringing, even though it's a well-developed idea, so bringing in a company like Google, Microsoft, I don't know, Toyota into Canada would not be considered an idea for an incubator or an investor to give you an LOS for the startup visa program.
All right, thank you, Mr. WEINER.
All right.
Okay. Another question is that from Ms. Johanna Limanto, if for example, I'm assuming she's asking that if she doesn't have a idea and then she choose to invest in one of the startup for family of 4, I'm assuming this is maybe a husband, wife, and 2 kids. I'm assuming what would be the cost that they need to budget for this program to get a PR? Maybe Bhumika can jawab.
All right. So the cost for our services, Georgina already explained, it's $160,000 and we are not talking about investment. We are talking about paying the service fee for our consultant services. This program is not an investment program. This program is for entrepreneurs who would like to come and establish a business here. If you do not have an innovative business idea, we will look into your background, we will look into your education, into your experience, and we will be able to match you to the business that is developed by a different applicant with our help, of course. However, it's not like you're investing in a business. It's not like you invested in Google or any other company. It's not like that. You would be an active member of the team, and you would need to provide an ongoing support to the business.
So she would not be investing directly into the startup. Is it correct?
No, she will be paying our fees, which will be used which will be used for development of the company, paying the tuition fee, developing the IP strategy, developing minimum viable product. So there are lots of expenses to the business, and the price that we provide, basically price that includes it all. And so we know that nobody likes surprises along the way. Nobody wants, you know, to find out in the middle of the process that they have to add something extra. So we provide this fee, which includes everything, and for the business development, for the consulting services, for the immigration case. So everything is included. You pay the fee if you do not have innovative business idea. Again, if you do have innovative business idea, we will look into that. We will price it accordingly. We will see if it's innovative for Canada or if it's already existing in Canada, and based on that, we will provide the price.
Oke, alright. Jadi jelas ya buat Ioana ya. Jadi biayanya itu 160.000. Jadi itu untuk main applicant. Tapi kalau sudah dapat PR itu berarti otomatis spouse sudah termasuk ya. Nah, but
aku potong dulu ya, Pak Hendro. Aku tanya dulu. Anastasia, what is the government fees, let's say, you know, for the dependents? Other than 160,000, what is the government fees for the? I think that exclude the, you know, dependents. How many, you know, like let's say spouse and 2 kids, something like that.
By the Canadian law, we cannot charge for the government fees. That's correct. Those fees supposed to be paid directly or through the immigration consultants, and the exact amount Marina would be able to, I think she would be able to mention here.
I mean estimated how much for the government fees.
Yeah, okay. Basically, for the family of 4, you would have to have close to 25,000 Canadian dollars for as a proof of funds, and your government fees will be roughly 1,500 for the adults and around 280 for the children.
Jadi biaya untuk dependennya, untuk tadi untuk adult ya, jadi untuk suami atau istri itu 1.500, dan kemudian untuk anak-anak 280. Is that correct, Marina? For kid?
Yeah.
Ya, for kid. Ya, dan juga harus menunjukkan proof of fund. Proof of fund ini
Again,
adalah dana yang
these fees are set by the government. They can change all the times, and they always will provide you with a receipt or the link where you can see what is your total fees.
Oke, alright. Jadi biaya resmi tersebut dikeluarkan oleh pemerintah ya. Juga tadi Anda harus menunjukkan proof of fund, dana yang Anda harus cadangkan untuk tinggal di Kanada. Ada pertanyaan lain?
Ya, ini ada yang ke saya ini aja ya Pak Ko Abun ya. Ini teman saya. Oke, jadi ini pertanyaannya saya bacain dalam bahasa Indonesia ya. Oh, ini startupnya tuh direkomen atau startupnya tuh direkomen oleh agent ibu. Maksudnya kalau perusahaan startup tuh direkomen oleh mereka, kita yang harus buka. Oke, jadi jadi Ko Abun, jadi gini, kalau misalnya Anda punya startup ya lebih bagus gitu, biayanya lebih murah karena yang kerja kan Anda ya kalau Anda punya startup ya. Tapi kalau Anda nggak punya startup ya udah jadi investor gitu. Nah sekarang startupnya, nah terus saya nebeng startupnya siapa dong? Nah kan di tempat mereka itu kan banyak yang apply ya kan, banyak apply. Nah itu nanti Anda akan dipasangkan oleh salah satu startup yang jadi aplikan yang jadi aplikan itu. Jadi belum tentu orang Indonesia ya, bisa jadi orang luar. Anda dipasangkan dengan startupnya orang belum tentu orang Indonesia. Tapi Anda assess dulu apakah Anda itu cocok masuk ke startup yang mana.
Bu GEORGINA, boleh saya tanya sedikit ya? Ya. Apakah startup company kalau yang kita direkomenin oleh agent Ibu ya di sana itu kita itu sebagai sleeping partner atau kita harus bekerja juga di perusahaan startup itu?
Oke,
Gitu.
saya sampaikan bahasa Inggris ya kali ini.
Ya, no problem.
Natasha, do we have a good question? So, if we're an investor, if we're an investor, we don't have a startup, and then you will match us with, for example, I'm a startup investor, and then you will match me with a startup visa, startup business, and then what should I do? Should I be a sleeping partner, or should I also work in that startup, contribute in that startup?
I'll answer that. So first of all, we will match up your background to the appropriate startup. So for example, if you're in IT, we're not going to match you up with the agricultural startup and so on. So it will have to be something that's related to your professional or your educational background. Now, as far as what you're going to do in the business, can you be, there are some things that you do need to do, especially when it comes to meetings with designated organizations, such as an incubator, for example. But usually the CEO of the company will have monthly meetings with an incubator. And your job will be to watch the progress of the business, communicate with team members, communicate with myself. All of that is done through email, or we may have to do a Zoom meeting once in a while, but there's not a lot of involvement if you don't want to. But that said, you should know what is going on with your business at the moment while you're applying for the startup visa.
Ada pertanyaan lagi, Pak Agun?
Ya, cukup Bu GEORGINA. Thank you, cukup jelas kok. Gitu.
Okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead, Pak Henry.
Yeah, I think Ms. Joanna is still a bit unclear for the fund required. So 160,000 is for the service fee, correct? Jadi itu 160.000 itu kan service fee-nya APS, karena mereka harus mempersiapkan berbagai macam dokumen tadi yang diperlukan gitu ya. Jadi itu adalah service fee-nya APS. Jadi memang tidak ada investment lagi di perusahaan yang startup lainnya. Jadi Anda sebenarnya akan dijadikan partners gitu ya. Anda akan dijadikan salah satu partners atau mungkin pemegang saham di perusahaan tersebut. Jadi memang nggak ada biaya tambahan. Biayanya cuma 160.000 itu aja sih untuk main applicant. Kemudian juga nanti kalau PR-nya keluar untuk dependent dan spouse. Untuk spouse dan kemudian anak-anak juga ada biaya resmi dari pemerintah. Jadi biayanya itu 160.000 itu. Jadi nggak perlu invest di perusahaan itu lagi. Bener ya Bu GEORGINA? Tadi saya nangkepnya begitu.
Yeah. Okay. Let's. I will address this to Anastasia. So Anastasia, can you elaborate a little bit, about the 160,000 US dollars? Oh, will there be any part of that amount be invested in the startup, or it's just all cost?
So most of it will be invested into the company. Part of this goes to cover the immigration submission fees. Part of this going to cover the tuition fees if in case of business incubator. The other part will cover the market research, the concept validation, the pitch deck and business plan creation, Of course, we need to do the IP solution, financial modeling, minimum viable product, everything. When you're building a startup, when you're building a company, when you will and go and do it by your own, let's say not with us. If you tomorrow will decide to open a company anywhere in the world, you will have to do those things separately. You will have to cover those expenses one by one. You will have to hire a lawyer who will do the incorporation for your company. You will have to hire a lawyer who will check and do your IP solution for the company. So everything is already included in those fees, and we cover those expenses for the business. If you will go probably and do it by yourself, probably it will cost you even more, right? So because we have a high capacity of companies and we can minimize the pricing here, so we include everything in as one package and provide it to you as a client.
Okay, thank you, Anastasia.
Yeah.
Clear enough, I think, for Ms. Joanna. Thank you, Ms. Joanna.
Okay, so Anastasia, basically, the startup will get investor, quote unquote, from, for example, if or someone has a startup and then another person will be matched up, matching to the startup. So actually, part of the investors' money will be invested in that startup. Am I correct?
The money goes, yes, the money goes and basically covers the expenses of the business, yes.
Ya, so ya Bapak Ibu kalau punya startup itu keunggulannya adalah Anda itu malah dapat dana juga dari investor. Karena untuk mengembangkan startupnya itu nanti kan dengan bisnis inkubator itu kan startupnya nggak bisa cuma stagnan begitu aja ya, harus ada progres ya, karena bisnis inkubator atau angel investor atau venture capital itu mereka dimonitor oleh pihak imigrasi ya, diminta mana ininya, apa perkembangannya dari startupnya dan sebagainya. Nah itu duit dari investor sebagian besar akan dibuat untuk juga mengembangkan startup Anda itu.
Bu Georgina, saya ada sedikit pertanyaan. Is it the money 160,000 US dollar itu udah including with the startup investment money or just for the fee only?
No, sudah termasuk startup investment money. Yes.
Oh, itu udah termasuk berarti ya. Tapi di luar the government fee ya, the immigration fee-nya itu ya. Itu yang harus kita bayar per kepala orang kan ya. Any person for the immigration fee or government fee itu. Benar kan ya?
Tidak termasuk untuk dependents, tapi kalau main applicants-nya udah. Tapi
main applicants-nya udah ya.
Dependents ya, karena dependents kan beda-beda ya jumlahnya.
Oke. Berarti kita sleeping partner atau kita harus incas. Nah, itu yang saya agak sedikit kurang jelas yang tadi dikasih tahu itu. Sama si
ya, tadi itu dibilang bahwa Anda akan dinilai, jadi Anda juga harus bukan incas, artinya Anda harus ikut aktif ya, aktif rebahan, nggak bisa di kaum rebahan. Aduh sorry ini ada kucing. Ya nggak bisa jadi kaum rebahan ya, itu mesti aktif. Anda juga harus aktif di startupnya itu, karena uang Anda juga ditanamkan di situ loh.
Ya. Oke, cukup jelas. Thank you, Bu Georgina. Thank you.
Ada lagi Bapak Ibu? Oke, bisa ditutup mungkin Pak Henry.
Oke, kalau nggak ada pertanyaan lagi, kita tutup ya untuk hari ini. Terima kasih. Thank you, Miss Anastasia, GLEB, MARINA, and then also Bu MIEKE. Thank you for your time. Terima kasih juga Bapak Ibu yang sudah join participate untuk malam ini. Bila nanti ada pertanyaan tambahan atau Anda ingin private appointment dengan Bu Georgina atau dengan Anastasia gitu ya, tentu kami dapat schedulekan. Nanti Anda dapat hubungi agent mungkin dari White Galaxy yang undang Anda, atau mungkin nanti kalau Anda diundang oleh siapa, nanti mungkin orang tersebut dapat menginformasikan kepada kita. Nanti kita akan membantu dengan maksimal supaya Anda juga dapat kami bantu kalau memang Anda berniat untuk migrate ke Kanada. Oke, saya rasa cukup. Oke, selamat malam Bapak Ibu, semuanya sehat selalu. Thank you Anastasia once again, GLEB and Marina. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Emily.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.